Hey, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Brothers-in-law. Those of you who are new to our channel, Mike and I are both former law enforcement police officers. I was a Virginia State Trooper for 7 years, and Mike is a retired 26-year veteran out of Pleasanton, California. So we like to welcome you all here. And what we talk about on our shows is policing in our communities and what not to do when you get pulled over by the police. And Mike and I have come up with a pretty unique acronym called C.A.L.M, which stands for comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. But we believe no matter what type of officer you get, you follow these four basic key words here to this acronym: comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. There's no reason for you to end up in conflict with a reasonable officer. Not guaranteed that you get that one bad officer, but we believe that 98% of the officers out here are reasonable officers and going to treat you in such a way. So welcome to the show, everybody. Again, we got a good show, good video lined up for you tonight. This is with Mr. Boosie Badass. I don't know who he is. I heard he's a rapper. I don't know. Never heard of him before. But he's made the headlines from a traffic stop that he was involved in Georgia, I believe maybe just a little over a week ago. So I don't know the guy, but I did watch his video and I'm not impressed with him. And he's the reason why we have a lot of these issues. People see him because he's a rap artist, Mike, and people look up to him and they're going to feed off of his energy and talk the way and try to act the way he acts and talks, and it's not necessary. So we'll break this video down. Mike and I will give you our take on it, on what we would have done if we were involved in this traffic stop, from two black former police officers, and we like to consider ourselves as very reasonable officers as well. So welcome, everybody, and we hope you get some value out of this so you can use this as a teaching point to let your friends and family know, look, this is not how you can conduct yourself on a traffic stop. So, Mike, what's up?
Yeah, he done much, Yeah, it's a good little video. I watched it. Boosie Badass. He's a rapper, from what I understand, at minimum. And when this came out, there's a lot of comments that I was seeing on social media about it. Like you did, Corey, I watched the video too. And what we want to show our viewers here is that if there's anything race-based or unreasonable about what took place here on this traffic stop, and we're going to talk about that when we get into it. Sure. It's always important to, like you said, to remain calm, follow that CALM acronym and just go with the program, for lack of better words. You know what I'm saying? The minute you start going off the program, or doing something that doesn't coincide with the program, things gonna start going south real fast when it comes to law enforcement. Yep. So let's take a look at this video and see what's going on. We're gonna run it and talk about it afterwards.
Yep. Now we got the short version. It's about 5 minutes. It's not the whole stop. If you want to see the whole, I think it's like a 22-minute video. I'll put the link down below after this show. But also be advised that there's a lot of profanity in this. So just be advised of that, those of you who have sensitive ears. And before we get into the go ahead, take a second, hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And if you dig in the content that Mike and I are putting out this evening, hit that notification bell so you stay up to date on all our latest videos. We do a live show every Thursday at 8:05. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, again, like I said a few minutes ago, this took place about a week or so ago on the 12th, actually. So what is that? 8-9 days ago in Georgia. Involving the rapper Boosie Badass. He is detained for a license plate violation, and he doesn't like it too much that he's been detained. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up, get my share screen going here, y'all.
Hey, Stacy. Hey, Tone. We see you on here. Hey, Goat. We see you on here. You know, you feel free to make comments, ask questions, or anything you want on here, so we can get to it.
Yes, sir.
And this for you, Tone. I know you requested this, Tone, so we're gonna look at this and talk about it.
All right. All right. So I mean, they already stopped them, and the first problem I have, anyways, is where they stopped them in the center medium. Not safe at all. But we'll talk about that here in a few. Hold on. One
So, let's pause for a minute, Corey, just to kind of catch viewers up a little bit up to this point. So they stopped him for a license. There was a license plate issue with this vehicle that he was in. Windows are tinted, so it looks like you can't really see any occupants in the vehicle. You know, I don't know if that's illegal too in the state of Georgia, but out here in California, it's illegal to have tinted windows on the front windows, not the back windows, but the front windows. Looks like these windows are tinted, and they stopped him for a license plate violation, some kind of license plate violation. So when the officer goes up to the driver's side of this vehicle, they smell marijuana, apparently, which gives them reason to search the vehicle. It gives them probable cause to search that vehicle. Apparently, in the state of Georgia, marijuana is still illegal to have, especially to have in a vehicle while you're driving, things like that. So they decided they're going to do a search of this vehicle. They don't. And Boosie Badass is on the passenger side. He's not the driver of this vehicle, but this is where we are up to this point, folks. This is why you see them pulling them out of the car, because they have made the decision to go ahead and search this vehicle against their consent. Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, bring marijuana in that car. You're good. I got you. So if you're on for me, I want for you. Okay.
I can't keep going through this, bro. Like I can't, bro. I don't do no wrong. I don't do shit, bro. Bro, I gotta go to y'all security and file charges, man. It's harassment. It's every day. I can't even live. I moved to the country to fucking live, bro. I get 6 years on my back. Fuck. Fuck all this shit up. I'm like that. I'm going there and fight the police and spit on you every fucking body. Cause I'm tired, bro. I'm ready to fucking roll me. Tired, bro. Tired, bro. Whatever you want to fucking do, we can do. That's how the fuck I feel. Y'all got real bond money. Fuck all this shit. Lock me up whatever the fuck you want to lock me up for. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. I'm tired of being fucked with. I'm tired.
Still by himself. There's no other unit behind me.
I need to go shit. I want everybody down here bad words. I'm gonna spit on every fucking nurse in that bitch. I'm gonna make you charge me. I'm gonna show you how I get down when I get locked up. I'm gonna show you how I get down. I'm gonna make them bitches whoop me. They gonna get a charge. I'm gonna make them whoop me. Because when you come to them, I'm gonna put them in their shit. I'm going out like a gangster. You gonna have to knock my fucking teeth out, buddy. And you're gonna be sued like a dog. I'm ready now. I'm all the way ready. I'm gonna show them how I get down and be off. Why? I'm gonna punch on the first white boy I see in that bitch. I swear to God, my daddy great. Any nurse, I'm gonna spit on that bitch. I ain't playing. Watch how I shine in this bitch. Watch out. I bet I get along with you for Mason. I bet you. You fucking with the treasure, motherfucker. I'm ready now. I'm ready to go to jail. First, let us out handcuffed. That's who we attack. We gonna tear that bitch. Every fucking day I'm getting pulled over my people. I'm getting targeted, bro. My license plate is white. I'm targeted. The man never birth control pills or something for one of my bitches. That's all. Birth control pills or something for my bitches. You know bitches can't get pregnant from me. Yeah, I got a lot of hoes sucking in my house right now. Yeah. I got like 35 hoes sucking in my house right now. If anybody want they suck, let me know. Bitch, I'm ready to fight. I take off I could fight. I would throw them bitches within the office. All you do is take off their bag and they gun. And I'm gonna throw them bitches with you in the parking lot. I'm like that, man. I moved out here for change. I'm finna sell my shit. Car is not stolen. Registration is right. The tag is right. I was pulled over because it's Boosie's car. You fucking motherfuckers are targeting my vehicle. You're targeting my vehicle. If I was a white college player, you wouldn't fuck with my vehicle. If I played soccer or baseball, you wouldn't fuck with my vehicle. You'll stop me for an autograph.
I'm gonna give you a citation for marijuana. All right.
For the smell of marijuana.
No, you'll be fine.
Crumbs on the floorboard.
There's some bags. There's 2 bags. All right. I'm gonna give you a citation for legibility, and that's it. All right. I'm gonna let y'all be on about your business. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take the handcuffs off you. You gotta sit in the car.
Bro, I'm just tired, bro. Hold on. If you let me go, just let me go. I'm going to file charges right now.
I got you.
I'll be up.
Have a seat and I'll grab that. Okay?
And there you have it. That's Mr. Boosie Badass, a rapper that I am not familiar with, nor do I ever want to be familiar with. And I'm glad I don't even know if my kids listen to that foolishness or not. But hey, welcome everybody. We just showed a video, of Mr. Boosie Badass getting detained in Georgia for a license plate violation. Is pulled out of the vehicle. He did not like it being detained for whatever reason. I mean, Mike, what do you think sparked his outrage like that?
Well, who knows? The only thing we can really speak to is, was there anything that took place in this traffic stop that is considered unreasonable, racist, or anything along those lines? I can't say I see anything like that. This is a common traffic stop, folks. If you smell marijuana in somebody's car as a police officer in an area where your marijuana is still illegal, yes, the officers do have a right to search the car. Like I said before, those windows were tinted, so they may not even seen the race of the occupants of the vehicle before they decide to pull them over. Okay.
Right. And that's key, Mike. I mean, I don't think people really understand that 9 times out of 10 that officer doesn't know your race. Like when I would be out there running LiDAR or radar, when I'm paying attention to if I'm running radar, I would say, so radar is using the radar detector inside the vehicle in a stationary position. So if I'm running, we always had 2 radars. You had one in the front and you had one in the back. And sometimes I just like running my rear radar. So I may be in a position where only thing I can see is a car coming, but I'm mostly focused on the sound, that Doppler tone sound that we get when it's high-speed vehicles coming in. And so only thing that I really have time to focus on is the make and model of the car and the color of the car. That's what I'm focused on, because a lot of times you're going so fast, I don't even know what you look like. If I might get lucky and be able to tell, oh, he had a hat on or she had a hat on. I don't know if you're male or female. So, to say that you know, oh, I'm being targeted because I'm black. Like he's saying, I gotta call bull crap on that because especially like you said, Mike, he's got dark tint on his windows. So the chances of that officer knowing that he was black or he was Mr. Boosie Badass, that officer didn't know.
Yeah, and also let's even cut to the chase and say if he did, he know he was black. So what? He was black. So what? You know
So
what I'm
what?
saying?
Still broke the law.
If you black, we got if it's a violation of a traffic violation or anything like that, an officer is not going to say, "Oh, you black, so I ain't going to stop you." You see what I'm saying? With all the stuff that's going on today, it's a black driver, so we can't stop the black driver. You know what I'm saying? Might think we racist. No, the officer still got a job to do. Okay, still got a job to do. All that stuff Boosie was talking while he was being handcuffed. Well, some might ask, well, why was he handcuffed? Very, very common tactic police officers use when they're getting ready to search somebody's vehicle, especially on the highway. Okay, to secure the occupants of the vehicle just in case they do have something illegal in the car and they might try to fight, run, or anything like that. Very common tactic. They handcuff them behind their backs, let them sit in the on the front bumper of the patrol car or stand in that area at least. That's common. There's nothing unreasonable about that. Okay, and there's nothing unreasonable about the search of the vehicle.
As far as common goes, Mike, that may even be policy for some.
Yeah.
If you pull that individual out, or you're going to do a search of the vehicle, that was common policy for us to. Hey, you need to make sure that they're at that time, because when you pull them out and you're doing that search, well, you've detained them. So if I'm detaining you, I'm going to place you in handcuffs. All right. So that is just really in some departments standard policy to do that. So
and being handcuffed does not mean you are under arrest. It does not mean you are under arrest. The handcuffs are simply a tool to make you safe and me safe, to secure you, to make sure you don't do anything that's going to hurt me or hurt yourself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's all it is. Handcuffs are just a tool. They do not mean that you are under arrest. Simply detained. And that's common, like you said, Corey. That's policy in some departments where if I'm doing a vehicle search, okay, I'm going to detain you. Now, I don't agree with the location where they had them, like you said, Corey, in the middle of the highway. And then little Boosie was walking around pretty freely right there, where what if he would have walked into some traffic and got hit by a car while his hands were cuffed behind his back? I think the officers should have been a little bit more directing and telling and making him stay in one spot for that reason. You know, you got traffic looked like was probably coming from both sides of the roadway there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's what the primary function of that other officer, where you got the side view of him. I think that's where, you know, he was more of your overwatch is what I like to call him. He was, you know, make sure they're safe while the other guys are doing the search of the vehicle, and that's fine. And you know, I have no problem him, you know, letting a walk in between the vehicles like he was doing, and I'm sure.
Little, you froze up on me a little bit, Corey. Hopefully, everybody else, if everybody else can see you, but
we good.
Okay, I see you now. You good now?
All right. So you know, I have a problem of where they stopped. You know, situation dictates sometimes. I mean, okay, maybe that's where the driver stopped, but me, I would have got him off to the shoulder. It'd been a lot safer that way. But hey, you make do what you got where you at. They blocked one of the other lanes, so that was okay. But you want to try to get to the shoulders as best as possible. But I think, like one of our viewers just said, I think he might have been, I think it was Goat saying that he might have been just wanted to make a scene. Maybe he did realize that he was being videotaped, and saw an opportunity for him because he knows, hey, I'm Boosie. This is going to go viral, so this is going, maybe help his clout or whatever. So he was, but you want talk about race and everything. Well, hey, they could probably throw, hey, well, you were being racial too because you threatened to punch the first white person you seen. Now, come on, man. You know, and here's my problem, Mike. Is guys like these will be the first ones to say that the police officers are picking on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll be the first ones if anything goes. They'll be the first ones to complain about something. Now, I ain't discouraging people to file a complaint if you feel you've been wrong. But the way Boosie was behaving, okay, was completely unacceptable. It was crazy. I see you, Seiko. It was completely unacceptable. I mean, he was only making that situation worse. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Walking around, like you said, Corey, threatening to fight. Take me to jail. You take these handcuffs off. We fighting. Those are now. If you had another kind of officer there, what do you think those kind of words would create? More of a hostile environment right there. You don't know what kind of officer you're dealing with. Okay, so you don't want to be running off at the mouth, making threats of trying to get physical or anything like that. That's just common sense to tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
These officers weren't doing nothing unreasonable. This was police work, folks. Searching a vehicle because I smell marijuana. I'm not gonna just blow by you just because you black and say, "Oh, I ain't gonna search your vehicle because it's too much trouble." You see what I'm saying? These officers still got a job to do. Okay, and folks, he didn't remain calm. Okay, he didn't follow that part of the acronym. He was just Boosie was acting a fool. In my opinion, he was acting a fool. Okay, you might be inconvenienced. You might be a little upset and bothered by the fact that you being stopped by the police and having your vehicle searched and handcuffed. That doesn't go over my head. I understand that, your feelings on that. Our issue is how you're reacting to that, the actions that you're showing while this is happening. Okay. Now, look, weed is illegal in some places. Folks need to understand that. You ain't gonna drive through some places with weed up in your car and expect not to be stopped. Okay, you ain't gonna roll with the smell of weed all up in your car and think that the officer's supposed to just blow over that and not worry about it. There's no big deal. I've heard that a lot. There's no big deal. All right, what you harassing me for this? It's illegal, man. Okay. Now you get a ticket for it, and guess what? Fortunately, you was able to move on. You know what I'm saying? You followed that acronym. And Tone had a question.
Oh, yeah, I get that one in a second, but let's just say, okay, we say that 99% of the officers are reasonable officers and they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Now, let's just say he got that one bad 1%. That he got that worst officer. Now, put a comment in down below and how that would have worked out if he'd got that 1%, that worst officer out there. What would have happened to Mr. Boosie? Him running his mouth like that and him getting that asshole officer, right? Because there have been some officers out there who would just shut up, shut up, shut up. These guys, I take my hat out to these guys because I'd have probably been just like them as well. It's like just let them talk. Yeah. You just talking.
As long as he ain't hurting me or doing nothing physical towards me or nothing, or run your mouth. So what? That's me personally. But there's some officers that ain't gonna put up with that either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is why I'm telling you, folks. Go ahead, Corey.
And what if he's saying, I'm gonna punch the first white person I see? Well, I think the officer that had the side view body cam, I believe he was black, but the initiating officer stopped the Mr. Boosie. He was black. So I mean, what if he took offense to that? You know what I mean? And let that bother him. You talking about you gonna beat up a white person? What? I'm white. It could have went bad if he'd got the wrong 1%.
Yeah,
police officer,
it could
the
have. If
bad
he would have
apple.
had some bad, let's for sake of discussion, if he would have had some bad officers that had bad tempers that lose their cool real easily and do something stupid, yeah, that definitely would have fostered that kind of environment. Right or wrong, this is why we're telling folks this is how you got to behave, and this is how you are not supposed to behave when you're around police officers dealing with stuff like this. You see what I'm saying? So Tone, just to answer your question real quick, does an officer have to state you're just being detained at this moment? No, they don't. There's no law that says the officer has to advise you out on the street as a traffic stop. However, I think most officers do tend to say that if I'm putting cuffs on you, I usually will say, listen, you're not under arrest, but you are detained for this reason. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put these cuffs on you, and that's it. And if they don't say that, the person that's being cuffed, you can ask them, say, officer, am I being arrested here? And they'll tell you, no, you're not being arrested. You're just being detained at this moment. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how you solve that.
They should tell it. Yeah, I believe it was policy for us. You had to let them know.
Okay.
Hey,
I think for us it wasn't.
Hey,
go ahead.
We would say, hey, you're not under arrest. You're not under arrest. But go ahead, Mike.
You got a lot. You're freezing up a little bit, Corey. No, but I was just saying, some departments it might be a policy, and our department, Tone, it wasn't necessarily policy. Like you wasn't gonna get in trouble for not telling them, not making that distinction at that moment, at that time. It does come a moment, obviously, when you have to tell somebody that they're under arrest or they're being detained. But like Corey said too, I agree. It's good policing I always like to explain to the subject what I'm doing and why I'm doing it as we're going along, unless there's some details that stop me from doing that or make it difficult or is going to make the scene difficult. But yeah, I will definitely, normally I will tell you if you're detained or arrested, if I'm putting cuffs on you. If I'm physically putting cuffs on you, I'm going to let you know, but yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just I don't think we cut out before I was making my last point, but yeah, just like you, I made a standard procedure. It was also policy that, hey, you need to let them know either you're under arrest or you're detained. Anytime you're going to put cuffs on, you need to let them know one of those two. Now, obviously, like you said, police, we're human. If they don't tell you right, wait, like you just said, Mike, yeah, go ahead and ask, hey, am I being arrested or I'm being detained? They're going to let you know. They have to let you know. Then once they figure out they finish their investigation and they've determined that a crime has been committed, then they're going to go back to you and say, hey, you're no longer detained. Now you're under arrest. Or they'll just say, hey, you're under arrest. But they have to let you know one way or the other. But I don't think, he made himself look good. Heck, he probably got a boost in record sales because some people are going to feed off on this, and not look at the whole video in its totality and say, yeah, and side with him. Yeah, they just messing with they just messing with me,
But here's my problem with that, Corey. Even looking at the video, there's going to be people that will say, oh, he got pulled over for no reason, even knowing the reason he got pulled over. Well, that ain't no good reason to pull you over. So what? He had marijuana in the car. So what? That's the mentality that some people will have. And that's what I have a problem with, because if it's illegal, it's illegal. Don't complain about it being illegal. It is what it is, and those officers have a job to do. They can address it or not. You see what I'm saying? But if they address it, don't complain because I pulled you over, number one, for violation. Don't complain because I choose to search your car because I smell something that is illegal in the car. Don't complain about it. It is what it is. You driving down the roadway, You got this weed in the car. It's smelling like it's smelling. Okay. What did you think was going to happen? You driving through an area where that's illegal. Okay. I don't care if it's legal in other states or not. The state that you are in, it must be illegal if they're doing these types of things. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that, and you can't be up there getting acting crazy on the traffic stop. You just can't do that. Okay.
Yeah. So let's look at the other guy, because two people were detained, and one acted out, and the other one did what he was supposed to do. And I didn't hear him say not one word. Did you, Mike?
No, I think it makes you wonder that he didn't say a word, because he looked at Boosie and was like, this dude is acting crazy, acting real ignorant right now. I'm not going to add to this foolishness. I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to move on. Lil Boosie wasn't trying to move on. He was ready. He said he was making all kinds of statements. I'm ready. I'm ready to get it in. I'm ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done riled me up. Lil Boosie wasn't trying to move, or Boosie Badass, whatever his name is. He wasn't trying to move on. Okay, folks, we want you to move on. We don't want you to act a fool like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wanted to go to jail. He wanted to go to jail.
But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you get pulled over, they're gonna search your car. Police gonna search your car whether you want to or not, as long as they feel they have a lawful right to do so. You got to understand that. It's you even put it this way, Corey. I think we said this on the last show. If I know I got probable cause to search your car, I still might ask for your permission. And if you say no, I'm still going to search your car as long as I know I got probable cause to do so. Okay. So, you know, it is what it is. And folks need to realize that this is nothing that's unreasonable. This is good police work. Good police work is, remember what we always say, Corey? A traffic stop is just not what it is at face value. When I stop you, I'm looking for other things too, in addition to the violation that I stopped you for. Are you driving drunk? Do you have weed in the car? Do you have anything illegal in the car? I'm looking for all those things. It's a mini investigation. So that's called good police work. These police officers were doing good police work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. And I take my hat off to the young man that was with him. I mean, to keep his composure the way he did. You know, if Boosie would have kept his mouth shut, if that were me on that stop, and he kept his mouth shut, I probably would have said, okay, just get rid of that little bit of weed. Right, because it probably wasn't. But I think he got that ticket because he was running his
wind tested.
Wind tested, right? Wind tested. But I think he got that ticket, that citation, because he was running his mouth a little bit too much. And in that mindset, yeah, you're gonna get whatever I can legally give you as far as ticket goes, because you're running your mouth. You want, I used to call them love letters. You want this love letter I'm about to give you.
Well, not only that, I mean, I'm gonna give you a ticket because I don't want you to come back and say I pulled you over for no reason. Okay, if I pulled you over for no reason, and that gets investigated, and they find out, well, officer, you didn't give him any ticket or anything to address the violation. Okay,
no, he got 2 tickets. He got one for the weed and one for the license plate. So
I mean, you got that kind of attitude, I'm gonna write you up. I'm gonna write you something. You're gonna definitely have some tickets. Okay. Now, you know, with video cameras and stuff, that's not so much of an issue anymore, because I can show on video camera why I pulled you over too. You see what I'm saying? Or I can show on video camera when I'm explaining to you my reasoning for pulling you over, you know? But video cameras don't always catch everything either, right? But you gonna get some tickets, folks. If you have that kind of attitude, you behave in that way, you definitely gonna get written up at minimum.
We got a question from Tone. He said, Corey, as a state trooper, did you have to deal with a lot of other neighboring state laws that don't comply with Virginia state laws? And how did you handle it? Yeah, I think that one of the we also had the ability to write out of state license plates that might have been expired. There's a certain code section for that. We also had a tent matrix for all 50 states. So if you came into Virginia, particularly, I wrote a lot of guys from Florida come up with very dark tinted windows. So I had the matrix scale for the tent limitations of Florida. So if you didn't meet the Florida guidelines, I can write you for illegal or proper tent here in the state of Virginia. So yeah, there are certain laws that you could probably do and get away in your state, but you ain't gonna get away with the Commonwealth for sure. uh, yeah, we could get you on that, and a lot of times in North Carolina we were good too, because like our DMV was, sometimes you could get information from like North Carolina's DMV on certain registrations. So it was because a lot of people work in Virginia from North Carolina, so it was a lot of back and forth. So yeah, you were North Carolina, you came in with a busted windshield, cracked windshield. I'm gonna write you for that defective equipment ticket here. Just because you have out of state tag on your vehicle does not give you immunity from that state laws. You still got to abide the speed limit. You still got to have both your headlights working. So yeah, that vehicle has, it's a state highway or federal highway. So all laws are going to apply. So
Yeah,
good
yeah,
question, Tom.
that is a good question, Tone. And on my end, I mean, the most I've dealt with as far as people coming out of state would be like your license issues. You have a lot of people with out of state license coming through, but they at one point may have had a California license, and the California license is suspended. Well, if your California license is suspended, you're gonna get action. You can get a ticket for driving in the state of California, even if you do have a valid out-of-state license, because you're driving in California. So if you have a California license and say an Ohio license, and you decide to drive through California with your California license suspended, yeah, you can get a ticket. You definitely gonna get tickets for that. But Katrina has a good one too. She says, how often have you guys been pulled into court over someone fighting with their tickets? Well, Corey, that's at least probably 50% of the time for me.
Yeah.
Mainly people go to court, which is fine, which is, by the way, that's how you're supposed to handle it. If you got a problem with a ticket that you got, you don't handle it on the street, you go to court.
Fight it in court.
Yeah, yep. I probably say about 50% of the time I went to traffic court. And the thing about traffic court is, I always encourage people to go to traffic court if they don't agree with the ticket that I gave them. You see what I'm saying? For us, if we had to go to traffic court and it wasn't on duty, we got an automatic 4 hours overtime paid for going to traffic court, unless it was actually during our shift. But a lot of times people will choose to go to court out here anyway in California, because they think the officer won't show up to traffic court, and if the officer doesn't show up, their ticket gets thrown out. Right, the case gets thrown out. For me, I always showed up to traffic court because either I was on duty, and unless I was tied up on a call or something, which was unlikely, because you knew when you had to be at traffic court and you kind of tailored your shift or day to go to court. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of times, Katrina, I mean, I've been to court, and there were times where I lost a traffic court for whatever reason. A judge might look at that and say, we gonna give this one to the driver. You know what I'm saying? That has happened before. Not often, okay, but it has happened before. You can win a case in traffic court, depending on what kind of judge you get. What you say, Corey?
I'll say this. So I wrote in 3 cities, so I was always in court. Every at least 2 to 3 times a month, I was in court. So I've won a lot of my cases. I'd say I probably had about a 98% conviction rate. My ticket stuck. And reason why for me, and I don't, it's okay now, but I don't really like tooting my own horn, but I never wrote anything that I knew wasn't or I should say, I won't say stick, that I knew I wasn't going to get a conviction on. So if I got you, and I had that reputation in the courtroom of, hey, Trooper Taylor, he's going to make sure his I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So the judges knew if Trooper Taylor wrote you, you did it. Right. But but they're one, and then you gain the reputation from also the attorneys, right? The attorneys know who you are. Instead of trying the case out, they're gonna come to you, the officer, and say, hey, can we do a deal?
Yeah.
Right. Because they know they're the best thing they got right now, because they're going against you, the officer, and they, like I said, they know you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. They know the judge is more likely side with you because of the reputation that you have in that courtroom. But I will say, though, if you're going to argue your case in court, don't just say you were going along with the flow of traffic. When you go in there, you better articulate why you did. See, it's up to you to have the burden of proof to prove you're innocent, and the trooper has to, and the officer has to have that burden of proof as well to prove it. Now, how's that officer proving it? Well, he visually seeing you speeding. He has his calibrations of his equipment, tuning forks, and when his radar was calibrated, or if he's using the LiDAR, the calibrations for that. And so with those things, he's proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you were the one that was speeding and he did it. Now, can the officer get it wrong sometimes? Yeah. There are times that the officer can get it wrong and you'll win the case, but you just can't go into court saying it wasn't me, or I was just going with the flow of traffic, or I had to use the bathroom really bad. That's not how you beat the case. If you're trying to beat the case, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, in this case here with this video of Boosie, if I'm out there on the road like that, yeah, the more you keep running your mouth and instigating on, I'm not gonna fight you back, because that's not what we do. But I'm looking for more stuff. Heck, I'm gonna go walk around now and look at your tires to see if your tires are bald, right? And if you got 4 bald tires, guess what? I'm gonna write you a ticket, a summons for each tire. Now you only really need to do one, but you want to be that way, I'm gonna write you one for each individual, right? So the more and more you run your mouth on the side of the road like that, the bigger hole you're digging with yourself. And mind you, you're being video recorded. That can also come out in court too. And what do you think the judge is gonna say?
Yeah.
The
judge ain't gonna look at that too kindly if you see that in court how you was behaving during
Yep.
a lawful traffic stop that officers are doing, a lawful vehicle search, and all that. That's never gonna look good on your behalf when you go to court. Because just about every officer nowadays, at least they should, they got body cameras. You know what I'm saying? I'd be surprised to see an agency that doesn't have body cameras in some form or fashion. And I'm sure there's some might be out there, but those are few and far between. Just about every officer nowadays got a camera on you, just like you got a camera on them. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree with you, Corey. I mean, if you're gonna go to court, make sure you are able to you have enough information to try to say that what I saw as the officer did not happen. I would say in general in traffic court, probably 95% of the time the officers are going to win the case, because there are some things where it is the officer's word against the drivers, like a stop sign violation. Well, right. When I did stop sign violations, I'm sitting there at that intersection watching that intersection for stop sign violations. And for me, as the officer, the way I wanted to do it was I needed to be able to say, I saw your car approach the limit line, cross the limit line, and proceed on your way past the limit line without coming to a complete stop. I have to witness each one of those, that segment of that statement that I just made. I got to witness all of that before I decide to give you a ticket. And like Corey,
Right.
if I'm giving you a ticket, you did it. There's no maybe, because if there is a maybe, or I might not have seen you correctly, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not gonna write you a ticket. That's how I was. If I look down for a moment and then I look up and I see you, that you might have ran that stop sign, but I didn't witness all aspects of it, so I might pull you over, okay? But I'm not gonna give you a ticket unless I'm 100% sure that you committed that violation for whatever it is.
Yeah, stops like that really come into effect when you're doing things like that, looking for things, especially when you have a DUI. And I don't know what drew this officer's attention to that vehicle. Now, it was for the license plate, I don't know if I couldn't see a letter, but the thing about license plates, it has to be visible. You can't have those license plate covers over them that are the tinted ones. You can't. Now I don't know about every state, but here in Virginia, you cannot have those license plate covers on your vehicles. You can, but they have to be the clear ones. That officer has to be able to see your license plate, all the letters and numbers on that tag. And it's not just for the officers to be able to see you to pull you over, but it's obviously a safety thing. So if something happens, we know that tag goes to that vehicle. So somebody's saying, hey, this red car was driving down the street. Okay, well, what was the tag? Did you get a license plate number? No, I couldn't see it because it was half torn off, because they never got their new plates, because they let the 30-day tags on there, and it's at now 65 days. So and half that paper was ripped off or faded. So you want to be able to see the tag. It is not to be obstructed. So it's not just because the police can know who you are when they pull you over. Another thing too, Mike, about this I thought was interesting. Now, yeah, that was Boosie's car. Boosie wasn't driving. Would you write the ticket to Boosie? Because it is his car, but he wasn't driving the car.
Yeah, if he's the registered owner of the car and the violation is a mechanical violation, and obviously he's present, yeah, I'm writing a ticket to Boosie because he's the registered owner, only because he's the registered owner of the car. He wasn't driving, but he happened to be present. Put it this way. Let's say he's the registered owner of the car and he was not in the vehicle. He wasn't there. I can still write the driver this ticket, but at the bottom of that ticket, I write in registered owner's responsibility, something to that effect. I would write that at the bottom of the ticket, so I wouldn't have the driver sign that ticket if he's not the registered owner of the vehicle. I would give him the copy of the ticket and say, make sure such and such get this. You know what I'm saying? But I would make sure that we would have to write in the bottom where you normally sign a ticket, registered owner's responsibility, so that when it goes to traffic court, they know that the registered owner was not there, and they can address it that way. You see what I'm saying? So if you happen to be driving somebody else's vehicle and you get pulled over for a mechanical violation, keep in mind, yes, you can get a ticket as far as it being issued to you, okay? But it won't be your responsibility. Ultimately, it'll be the registered owner's responsibility. But go ahead and take the ticket. You still got to take the ticket.
See, that don't work
in California.
Yeah, that don't work here in Virginia.
No,
no, no.
How is it in Virginia?
If you driving that vehicle, say you in Virginia visit me, it's like, hey Corey, can I use your car? I'm gonna run to the store. Hey, yeah, no problem. Go ahead, here the keys. You go to the store and you start speeding down the road. That ticket go to you, or let me use this one better example. You going down the road and the registration is not properly registered. All right,
Okay.
it's a month expired. Tags
Okay.
expired 30 days. All right, you getting that ticket. Because here in Virginia, believe it's everybody's responsibility who's driving that vehicle. It's your responsibility. You take responsibility of that vehicle, even though it's not yours. But you sitting behind that wheel, you take responsibility. So
Wow.
you getting that ticket.
See,
So a
and
lot of
see,
people,
folks, that's a huge difference between the states. The only thing I say about that, Corey, is if you're not the rest. Now, we specifically you're talking about mechanical violations, registration, brake lights out, stuff like that. If you don't own the vehicle, though, you're not like, for instance, you're not responsible for registering the vehicle if you're not the registered owner of the vehicle, right?
no,
So why
but
should you get the ticket?
but it's your responsibility. So you can't get in there and play dumb like, oh, I didn't know. Now you should know if that vehicle is properly registered. You're putting that vehicle on the road. You
That's
ought to know.
interesting. So
Now
the driver
and
can
that
get the
and that
ticket,
works.
and you
Huh?
are you telling me then the driver would be responsible for taking
Yeah,
care of that ticket, whether or
yeah,
not they're the registered owner of the car?
yeah,
That's interesting. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Now I tell you how it play out in court though. In court, 9 times out of 10, uh, the judge would dismiss it. Or the good thing about it is that friend would put the pressure on the owner. Hey, fix your stuff. Go to court with me and get this thing dismissed. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know what I mean. So I mean, it worked the same way for work vehicles, right?
yeah.
We have inspection stickers on the vehicles, right? It's the company's uh, responsibility to make sure the inspection stickers are up to date. So if I stop the vehicle for expired inspection sticker, I'm still writing the driver, even though he's not the owner of the vehicle. The company is, right.
Okay.
I just tell them, hey, make sure you take it back to your supervisor or whatever, and they'll take care of it. They'll go ahead and just prepay it. That's the thing. The majority of our traffic violations or equipment violations can all be prepaid, so you don't have to go to court. So that's one of the good things about it. And I don't know how it is in Georgia. I don't know how Mr. Boosie Badass would have to handle this, but I mean, he was making a mountain out of an anthill.
Yeah.
There was no reason
That's the big
to,
thing right there. Yeah.
you know what I mean. Uh,
Yeah.
I just feel, and it hurts me because you're playing into that stereotype of how black people are on traffic stops, angry and I didn't do nothing type attitude. Well, you know what? This is how not to act on a traffic stop,
Yeah, that's
right?
not that. That definitely. The bottom line is like we were saying. This is not how you behave. He didn't follow that calm. Luckily, he was able to move on. He got a ticket. He moved on. He's running his mouth, getting out of control that way. But luckily, he didn't physically get out of control. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do those things. And he was able to move on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I, and that's what's still important, man. I mean, again, kudos to the officers keeping their composure, and again, that was their training kicking in, because I tell you, during Officer Survival Week, we'd have scenarios something similar to this, where you have one of the individuals being compliant and not giving you trouble, and the other one is just going berserk. And then you learn to as an officer to develop your composure and be able to just, all right, let this dude run his mouth. As long as he don't do anything to hurt himself or hurt anybody, just let him run his mouth, right? He's not a threat because he's handcuffed, right? And he did the right thing too. Once he got unhandcuffed, he went right back to his vehicle and had a seat. So
Yes.
good on him. And he actually went back and got in the driver's seat.
Yeah. I
So
thought it was interesting. Yeah.
you know, good on Boosie on that aspect, but that's not the way you conduct yourself on the side of the road, folks. So hey, let us know what you think about this video. If you like it, if you found good value in it, good teaching and lesson point in it, go ahead and drop us a comment in the comments below. And I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, Mike, and get it in there for the one for the books.
ATSW1, I
CTSW,
see.
what's up? With Jesus love you. Thank you for joining us, Mom. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Hey,
We
Mrs.
appreciate
Taylor.
the love. But hey, remember that CALM acronym: comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. That's the name of the game, folks. There's no reason for you to get into a heated argument with the law enforcement. If you're gonna fight it, you want to fight them, you fight them in court, not on the side of the road. All right, last words, Mike.
Nah, everybody be safe. Have a good weekend. If you're going on your weekend right now, if not, be safe, period.
Yeah, be safe. We'll be back next week with another video to break down. In the meantime, stay calm, be safe, and we'll see y'all next week. God bless.
Peace out.